Hi everyone, and in this video we're going to discuss another advisory which is known as the Airmen's Meteorological Information Advisory, or the Airmet. And basically what an Airmet is, it's a description of weather phenomena that pilots can expect en route or even at their terminal locations when they land. And the type of weather that's included in Airmet are the weather conditions that are the same, similar to SIGMETs, but of lower intensities. So for example, in SIGMETs, you're looking at severe or extreme turbulence or severe icing. With an Airmet, you would see moderate intensities, moderate turbulence, moderate icing. And there's a few other things, and we'll go through those details here shortly. But still, the weather phenomena that's included in Airmets can affect the safety of aircraft operations. So it's of course intended for dissemination to all pilots, but pilots who fly typically small airplanes that are not instrument rated, or the aircraft are sensitive to that type of phenomena, should pay particular attention to Airmets. Airmets come out from the country's Meteorological Watch Office. Here in the United States, we've got three Met Watch offices, and those are the Aviation Weather Center, located in Kansas City, Missouri, the Alaskan Aviation Weather Unit, which is located in Anchorage, Alaska, and then finally the Weather Forecast Office in Honolulu, which looks at Hawaii and the adjacent waters. And these are scheduled, they come out 4 times a day. It's a 6-hour forecast. And if weather changes significantly, they may amend it. And typically the amendments are not scheduled. You don't need to memorize the times that they come out, but there they are at the bottom, the issue time. And then remember, it's a 6-hour forecast. So if it's issued at 3, it's good until 9 Zulu. If it comes out at 9, it's good to 15, and so on and so forth every 6 hours.
There are two very broad general categories of Airmets. One is the traditional alphanumeric code, in other words, textual products. These are the ones that you read. And then there are also graphical products. Of course, these are plotted on a map. Textual Airmets are issued by the Aviation Weather Center for 6 different areas across the continental United States. Those areas are the San Francisco, Salt Lake City, Chicago, Boston, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Miami areas. So each one of these you'll have an Airmet Zulu, Tango, and Sierra. The textual Airmet contains information about the weather phenomena that's hazardous for aviation. Specifically, it'll give you the location that is covered by this Airmet, also the type of weather phenomena, is it IFR or icing or turbulence, and also a description of the weather hazards, the altitudes that the weather hazard can be expected, also when it should start and also when it ends, and then finally other remarks that include things like, well, it may extend beyond the issuance of this Airmet. So it's a lot of reading, and you have to get used to or practice reading these Airmets to get pretty good at it. All of the altitudes that are included in Airmets are MSL altitudes, unless you see the contractions CIG or AGL, and those are always above the ground level. And then if the hazardous weather phenomena extends above 18,000 feet, they will give you the flight levels, which the weather hazard extends to. Of course, Airmets use weather and obstruction to visibility contractions that you see in METARs, for example. If visibility is restricted by snow, you'll see SN. If by mist, BR. And then also they use ICAO-approved contractions, abbreviations, and numerical values.
AMD means that it has been amended. Typically you see that the first couple of lines. COR means corrected. And then they'll tell you why it's been amended or corrected. They'll highlight that region later on in the last line.
There are 3 different types of textual Airmets that are forecast: Airmet Sierra, Tango, and Zulu. Sierra is for IFR conditions, Tango for turbulence, And finally, Zulu stands for icing. We'll talk about Airmet Sierra first.
So here's your criteria for Airmet Sierra, and you do need to know the criteria. Airmet Sierra covers IFR weather and also mountain obscuration. What is IFR? It means ceiling less than 1,000 and or visibilities less than 3 miles. And that needs to cover, for an Airmet, it needs to cover a large area, 3,000 square miles. How big is 3,000 square miles? If you do the square root of 3,000, you'll get about 55 miles, a box that's 55 miles by 55 miles. So it's got to cover a decent area. It can't be just one station with IFR. It's got to cover more or less a region. And the same thing with mountain obscurations. It's got to be about the same size. So mountain obscuration means that the clouds or precipitation is hiding the mountains. So they will also tell you what is causing the IFR or mountain obscuration. They'll give you the reason for the visibility being restricted, whether it be precipitation, smoke, haze, mist, fog, or blowing snow. And then mountain obscurations could be caused by clouds, precipitation, smoke, haze, mist, or fog. The criteria for an Airmet Tango, of course, is moderate turbulence. Severe turbulence would be in a Sigmet, moderate turbulence in an Airmet. And then other criteria include sustained surface wind speeds of more than 30 knots and also non-convective low-level wind shear. So those three things will be included in an Airmet Tango. Airmet Zulu deals with moderate icing, not severe icing like Sigmets, and of course light icing is not included in any product. So moderate icing is what we're looking at here. And it will not tell you if that icing is in cloud or precipitation. The reason they tell you that is it used to be in the old Airmets, they would tell you if it was in cloud or precipitation. Now they just leave it out and tell you there's moderate icing. In the Airmet Zulu, they also have freezing levels, and they'll give you multiple freezing levels. They will also give you the lowest freezing level above the ground. And then they use high altitude VORs and reference high altitude VORs, how close the freezing level is to that high altitude VOR. And then, of course, freezing levels are indicated in intervals of 4,000 feet. So you'll have freezing level at the surface, at 4, at 8, and also 12,000 feet. As I mentioned, they use multiple freezing levels or high altitude VORs to indicate areas of multiple freezing levels. And then they also tell you the range of freezing levels over the entire Airmet area. When we say Airmet area, we're talking about like the Chicago area or perhaps maybe the San Francisco area, but that is a very big area. And so you'll have a range of freezing levels from the surface up to maybe 10 or 12,000 feet.
Textual Airmets can still be found at the Aviation Weather Center. Navigate to the menu item under Advisories. You'll find Sigmets and G Airmets. If you click on Sigmets, it will take you to the Sigmet page, and that has a link for Textual Airmets. And also when you click on that link, it'll also give you all of the Sigmets as well as the Airmets. You have to specify for the region that you are looking for the Airmets and also the Sigmets. For example, those 6 areas we talked about before: Chicago, Salt Lake, Dallas, Fort Worth regions. And then also the type. Is it one for Tango for turbulence, one for icing, or one for Sierra IFR weather, or do you want all of them? So you can still get the textual products there. The textual Airmets are going away. The FAA has asked the National Weather Service to retire these products. They transitioned actually a while ago, back in 2017, to more graphical, and as a result, they have been trying to get rid of these textual products. The textual products are very difficult to read, and they can be confusing, so they think that they're going to retire them by the end of 2023. That is the end of this video on textual airmets. I've produced another video on graphical airmets, and I suggest that you watch that.